Good morning. It's good to have you join us on Nigeria Now, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, 2S Television. My name is Merciful Ajinamo. Joining us to analyze some stories is Adebayo Fajimi. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine.
We have a couple of stories this morning. Let's begin from the Daily Sun newspaper. The banner headline there says, Lagos hashtag NSAS protest panel awards 409.7 million naira to 70 petitioners. The writer says, submit report had 186 of 252 petitions, and this story can be found on page 4 of the Daily Sun. What do you make of this newspaper, this story talking about the NSAS panel award?
Yeah, it is a welcome development since almost a year now. Let's say over a year.
Month, yes.
So everybody is happy that at the end of the day, so the panel could come to a conclusion and submit the report to the state government of Lagos State. Well, the money being awarded to the petitioners, and where it's not really the money, but the circumstance, that triggered, the entire situation. So I think Nigeria needs to learn from this, and there are so many controversies, and even the government has said they are going to make it public, and it's not going to be something that is going to be hidden. So let's wait and see what the panel has put together, so that at the end of the day, when people see them, we can know what is. But the truth of the matter is, it is not something that Nigeria never prayed to experience again, and government should ensure that they do everything to ensure that the reoccurrence of this do not happen.
Okay, still on this story. Let's go to this newspaper that also talks about the same story. That's Nigerian Tribune. The banner headline there says, NSAS panel establishes killings in Lekki. Government sets up 4-man panel on white paper. Committee to submit report in 2 weeks. So before now, we've been having, especially clamors, calls from young people, people who are very sound with the use of social media, come out to say they need the government to say something and, say that there was a massacre, there was a killing or some sort. Now, this is coming to, pinpoint that fact that something happened. There was a killing that day in Lekki Tollgate. And now, what people have really, been saying, tweeting some things on social media, that it's a good step towards the right direction. We see this story on Nigerian Tribune newspaper as well. The banner headline there is, NSAS panel establishes killings in Lekki. Government sets up 4-man panel on white paper. Before now, young people have been waiting for this day to happen, where the government established that something actually happened on October 20th, 2020. And now, young people have really been behind their phone pads and be typing and saying, yes, it's a good step towards the right direction. What does this say, to the young people who have been looking for information from the government in the past 1 year and some months?
Yeah, I think it's going to give them a kind of relief, because over time there has been different opinion. This happened, this does not happen. Even from the center, you heard what the spokesperson of the government has said. But now that fact has been, the panel has established the fact that, see, this thing truly happened. So now the government, agreeing to the established fact, is going to bring, a kind of relief to the people, and admitting that, okay, we agree that this thing happened. So the next thing is, what's next to do? So how do we ensure that we identify with the victim, to ensure that the pain gets relieved and all of that, and also to see how best we can ensure that this does not happen again. So it's going to, because the truth of the matter is, the government, being decisive in the approach or the step they are going to take to ensure that, because when people see that this thing happen, and just a few people say this does not happen, and it is obvious that it happened. So there is no way you can earn the trust of people through that. But if the government can really do the needful, and admit that, see, we agree that we make mistake and we are going to correct all the anomalies. Of course, it's going to be a good thing for them.
All right, we'll move back to the Daily Sun newspaper. We're seeing a story there on education. ASU threatens fresh strike, gives federal government 3 weeks ultimatum. That can be found on page 26 of the Daily Sun. Besides the picture of the day there, we see COVID-19 fake vaccination certificate now in circulation. Federal government wants. And the rider there says, set January 22nd to vaccinate 50% of Nigerians. Gunmen strike traditional ruler's home in Benue, kill son, abduct daughter. And that can be found on page 4 and 27 of the Daily Sun. Kalu, Tinubu, others mourn Sani Dangote. That's coming on to page 29 of the Daily Sun as well. And now we see death of Nigerian in Cote d'Ivoire sparks outrage. Federal government demands full investigation. We're seeing bandits ready to drop arms coming from Sheikh Gumi. That can be found on page 6. Build school for herdsmen in Kaduna Forest. This particular story has generated a lot of controversy, on social media and of course the internet. What's your take on this story on Sheikh Gumi and the rider that says build school for herdsmen in Kaduna Forest?
Well, I don't know the basis in which this man, because it just the other time he was saying that the federal government should establish a particular agency or a ministry for these people. Well, whatever point he's making is not strong enough, even though it's his opinion and he's entitled to it. So whatever he's saying is not strong enough. So for herdsmen to be doing what? So is it not the responsibility of the government to ensure that every citizen has access to education? So the question is, why are those people not assessing, their privilege, their right? So I think that should be the main issue, and not that a government should be giving special privileges to. They should, of course, if there is any reason for that, but the case Sheikh Gumi is making here is not strong enough. But it is the right of every Nigerian. Nobody should be deprived right to education. So I think it's not strong. It's not strong.
Okay. The banner headline of the Guardian newspaper here says inflation decelerate defies market reality. We have a couple of riders. The first, figures contradict global trend. Worst days ahead, farmers warn. Address insecurity to safe situation, federal government advised. Figures doctored to achieve predetermined objective. That can be found on the Guardian newspaper. And now we're seeing something on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. It's difficult to be impartial, objective without autonomy. CJN tells Buhari. Of course, you can get out on page 2. The Leadership newspaper, the banner headline there is rising hardship. ACF, Ohaneze, Afenifere, others advise federal government on way out. The couple of others on the front page there is first, want creative thinkers in cabinet. Poverty, unemployment worst in the north. That's coming from Jega. Experts call for policy overhaul to curb inflation. And federal government says we're working to crash food prices. That can be found on page 4 of the Leadership. Under the picture of the day there, we see states battle 300 billion naira pension liabilities. Bleak retirement awaits workers in defaulting state. You can get that story on page 4 of the Leadership newspaper. And of course, talking about COVID-19, federal government once against procurement of COVID-19 vaccination cards. That can be found on page 9 of the Leadership newspaper. On the Vanguard newspaper, we'll see a politics story there. APC, Buni, Marafa's field gets messier. We have a couple of riders. The first, stop grandstanding, address the issue, says Marafa. Don't reduce issues to personality context. Zamfara not Yobe, APC stalwart. Banire react to spat, says Marafa, just expressing his opinion. And then a mental health chat room debuts today. We can get our story on page 23 of the Vanguard newspaper. And Lagos panel report indicts army police on Lekki shootings. And that's NSAS. We can get that on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. And the last newspaper for today, of course, is the Nigerian Tribune. From the very top, ASU threatens fresh strike, gives federal government 21 days to implement agreement, still expecting 22.127 billion naira earned allowance. You can get out on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. Council for Legal Education, NBA, senators reject proposed establishment of 6 law school campuses. We can get out on page 8. and every other story that can be found on the Nigerian Tribune. Just grab yourself a copy of any of the newspapers, and of course, stay updated on our website www.tostvnetwork.com. Don't forget to also follow us across all our social media platforms at TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And of course, our YouTube is right there, so you do not miss out on our amazing content. Thank you for joining us on Nigeria Now. See you tomorrow. My name is Merciful Ajinamo.